This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Locked On Bets. We appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you as we take a look at a plethora of things today. A couple baseball plays, also UFC 319 going to Chicago this weekend. We'll have picks on that, and we'll take a look at Sean Payton's Denver Broncos. Bo Nix's second year. We'll see how that all turns out there in the AFC West. With all that being said, Lee, let's begin with today's blowout.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
We're going to begin with an afternoon affair in Kansas City. The Royals and the Nationals meeting up. And James Wood, who has had a great season at the plate for Washington. Lee, what do you like with him?
Crazy. I mean, when you used to see guys above 6'5", they used to almost always be batting fourth, fifth, seventh. Now we're seeing guys like Ellie De La Cruz and James Wood of Washington are both 6'7", batting leadoff. I mean, are you kidding me? They're big, they're strong, they're fast. I mean, they do it all. These guys are 4, 5, maybe even 6 tool players. They might even, sell popcorn in between innings. So fun players to watch. And he was mired in a huge slump for a while. But right now, James Wood is red hot. I like the fact that he's batting leadoff. Could get an extra at bat here. Sometimes end up with 5 at bats. He has gone over 1.5 bases, 5 straight games. He is absolutely hammering right-handed pitching all season long. How about this for a leadoff hitter? 25 homers and 78 RBIs. Yeah, he even has 14 stolen bases. So he's 6'7". He's like 235 pounds. And like I said, we just have fallen short. We'll talk about it in a few moments on our player props here. We keep ending up with guys just hitting a single. This is a guy that can stretch it to a double, knock it out of the ballpark the first time he gets up to bat. So we're getting our hits early. These batters we've chosen the last couple of days, they just aren't getting that second hit. He might be able to get it with 1 hit, but I think he's going to get 2 hits today. We're going to go with James Wood, the 6'7" left fielder for the Washington Nationals, over 1.5 bases plus 115. I think he's going to be an easy over tonight as we get back in the win column.
Yeah, and it's been kind of a crazy series there in Kansas City. A lot of runs scored between those two teams. And looking back at yesterday, Lee, we've been on the air for 6 weeks or so, something like that. And our first Golden Sombrero, 0-3 last night. And, like we talked about, Randy Arozarena with the Mariners, they beat the Orioles 1-0. He got a hit and just couldn't get that second hit. And that is tough. A loss is a loss, but still, you've had in these total base props getting the 1 and just unfortunately not the 2. These guys getting 4 or 5 at bats, just can't get that second hit.
Yeah, it was a low scoring game, which didn't help us also. So it seemed like both teams were going into, kind of a safety mode, especially Seattle. They just wanted to get through 7, get to their closer. If that game was tied up, could have gone extra innings, a couple innings, and he could have gotten that hit. So just didn't quite get there.
And the Red Sox end up beating the Astros, and Dusty May pitched well. I mean, you can't fault him. He's struggled all season with the Dodgers, got traded to Boston at the deadline, and the Astros had been playing well. Houston won the first game of that series, but May, look, he was really good last night and ended up shutting down the Astros.
Yeah, happens sometimes. So just a wrong read there.
And the WNBA game, the late game, had the Liberty in the first quarter, ended up winning the game against the Sparks, but New York was up 7 early, and LA ended up leading the first 30-28. And look, last time they played, I said that they're going to slow down LA. LA had 35 the last time they played in the first quarter. This time they scored 30. And New York shot almost 70% in the first quarter, but couldn't finish it off. And, we've had a lot of these things this year, Lee, of the WNBA, that the first quarter we lose and the team ends up winning the game.
Yeah, just wasn't our day. We move on. Fun. We'll get it back.
Yeah, and it's fine, and that happens. So we do have some UFC picks coming up. We'll take a look at the Mariners and the Orioles as well. But also, we're a day away now, Lee, from actually 2 days away now from resuming the preseason in the NFL. All the action starting on Friday, and it should be pretty good. Anything, obviously, we won't have any picks today for the NFL, but anything you are looking at, we discussed yesterday as well, storylines, anything you're keeping an eye on heading into week 2 of the preseason?
Yeah, well, there's a couple teams that just really didn't show up. And usually when that happens in the preseason, even the first game, practices are a little bit harder. Coach isn't going to say we want to win, but usually there's a different approach towards the second game. And a couple of the teams that I'm looking to give out and to talk about on the show on Thursday and Friday are going to be teams like that just look absolutely horrible. But that's where you can find some value, especially in preseason.
One of the games I wanted to discuss as far as what happened last week, the Jets just blowing out the Packers. Justin Fields, his debut, he played well, and New York, needs him a quarterback. They don't have a lot of choices. The Aaron Rodgers now gone to Pittsburgh. Green Bay did not look good, and Jordan Love's a little banged up. But as far as just those two teams, when you talk about, are people going to overvalue the Jets going into week 2, and also see if the Packers can bounce back here?
Probably a little bit. Aaron Glenn has really given them a new approach, quicker, faster paced workouts. And I think the players like it. He's a player's coach. He understands it's not like he played 30 years ago. So he knows what these players want and need. So I am impressed with him, but Green Bay had a ton of injuries. They didn't play anyone. The only problem for Green Bay going forward is they're going to need to find a number 1 receiver for Jordan Love, obviously get him healthy, and he should be by the first week. He's got a month pretty much to get healthy. And they got to find some cornerbacks and get a pass rush going. I'm just not a Green Bay Packer believer. They might be able to get into the playoffs, but I can't see them doing some damage unless they get healthy and find some solutions to a lot of question marks I have.
What were your thoughts on the Dolphins on Sunday? They tied the Bears, and Tua was shaky in some of the practices against Chicago, and again, one preseason game. But what do you think about Tua's play with the Dolphins?
Well, he's fine. He just has to stay healthy. And their biggest problems over the last couple of years is their toughness. They can't get yards on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. They had the first string line going against the number 2s for Chicago on the goal line. I think it was something like 5 times, could not hammer it in. So that's a continued problem there. And cornerback, they probably have the worst cornerbacks we've seen. Maybe I'm overstating this a little, but maybe since the merger in 1970, when I grade cornerbacks, their cornerbacks that they're going to line up, most of them would not even make other teams, 53-man roster. So they are that devoid of that position. So if you're a Dolphin fan like I am, it's going to be a few years. And hopefully the GM, Chris Greer, finally gets let go.
Yeah, we'll see how it all turns out. Week 1, they go to Indianapolis, and we know the Colts have their question marks at the quarterback position. Coming up, we'll take a look at another baseball play for tonight, the Mariners and Orioles in Baltimore. Also, UFC 319 in Chicago. All of that is coming up. You are listening to Locked On Bets. Want to tell you now about Monarch Money. And ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Stick to your budget with these tools. Monarch Money is a flex budget system, allowing you to save for big goals. Also, you can modify your groups and categories that suit you at Monarch Money. Also, you can use flex budgeting when expenses change from month to month, or go to fixed budgeting when you have those expected expenses. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. We continue here, Locked On Bets on this Wednesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And now it is time to go back to the diamond. Lee, it's the hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
All right. The Seattle Mariners are a team that could be in the World Series this year. They played very well. They bolstered their lineup at the deadline. They got good pitching. They beat Baltimore last night 1-0. But with that being said, they are not the hidden gem because that'd be too easy. So we're going to go with the Baltimore Orioles in the first 5 innings tonight at home against the Mariners. And here are a couple reasons why. Number one, my cousin, Trevor Rogers, former Marlin. First 5 innings, his 10 starts, 6-1-3 in the first 5 innings. The only time he lost was 1-0 to the Cubs. So he's been very good in the first 5 innings. On the flip side, Logan Gilbert for the Mariners. He has not led through 5 innings in 6 of his past 7 starts. So he is a guy that can strike out batters, still a very good pitcher, but he's had some struggles early in these games. But Lee, here is the cherry on top. A little convoluted. I know, digging deep, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. So in the last 14 game 2s of a road series for the Seattle Mariners, they are 1-9-4 in the first 5 innings. They've led 1 time in game 2 of a road series dating back to May. So Orioles first 5, hidden gem.
That is a hidden gem, Kevin. I usually hear, and you look at certain stats, the first game of a road series, but the second game, you know, I've got a bet going on Seattle to win the World Series at 12-1. It's now down to 10-1. But here's what I'm hoping for. I'm going to hope for Trevor Rogers to shut him down through 5, and then the Mariners come back and win the game. Is that okay?
That's all it has. Exactly. I don't care. Go up 1-0, 2-0. Whatever happens after that doesn't make a difference. So that's the beauty of the first 5. It's just win the first half of the game and then move on to the second half of the game. So
and
that is all.
You know, Seattle's now tied them. That's a tie right now for first place, Seattle and Houston. So that's going to be a fun thing to watch over the next month or two. So this is going to be a great chase to the finish to see who wins that division.
And also quickly in the NL West entering Wednesday, the Dodgers lost again to the Angels and the Padres beat the Giants. So they're tied atop the NL West. So all of a sudden that has turned, and they're going to play a bunch of times coming up. So the Dodgers 0-5 against the Angels this year. Who'd have thought that was going to happen? But so both Western divisions, pretty good. We'll see how it goes down the stretch. Exactly what not David Sampson. Who's the commissioner of baseball? Rob Manfred. I don't know why I thought of David Sampson for a second. Rob Manfred is exactly what he wanted. He wanted the Mariners and the Padres. That's what he wanted in the World Series. He gets Dodgers, Yankees one year, and then he gets maybe the Mariners, Padres, or Mariners, Brewers, or the Blue Jays and the Padres, or something crazy like that. So we'll see. Okay, Lee, let's go next to our bet a little, win a lot with UFC.
They say you'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So bet a little, win a lot.
Still don't know how I got David Sampson stuck in my head there as the commissioner of baseball. UFC 319, United Center in Chicago, coming up on Saturday. Lee has been on fire with the UFC picks. So, Lee, what do you have for this weekend in Chicago?
All right, so this is a real interesting fight. It's Brian Battle. And he mainly has fought as a welterweight. And that's where he fights best, which is 170 pounds. He used to be a light heavyweight. He's lost so much weight. So he's going to be fighting at middleweight. Brian Battle is. He's 12-2, just 30 years old, starting to come into his own. 6'1", and he has a 77-inch reach. He's going to be fighting Nursultan Ruzabov. Ruzabov is 30, listen how many fights he's fought. 36 wins, 9 losses, and he has two ties. So this is crazy. 31 years old. That's at 31 years old, and he has total 47 fights, professional fights. Much taller. Usually Battle's the taller, rangier fighter. Ruzibev is 6'5". Battle still has a 1-inch reach advantage. Ruzibev is 76-inch reach. So I think what you're going to have, usually Battle can control the settle of the ring, and he can do what he wants. He can, out physical his opponent, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that. I think both of these guys are going to be at the center of the ring. Ruzibev is also dirty. I mean, this guy will grab onto the cage. He'll eye poke. He'll do little things, anything to get an advantage. But if Battle was fighting at a lower weight, at the welterweight, I would probably take him in this fight. But with him fighting at middleweight, I think these guys are going to be at the center of the ring, and they're just going to trade blows back and forth. And I just can't see many takedowns either way. I'm going to take a different approach here. I'm going to bet a little, win a lot on them going over 2.5 rounds. All we need to do is go into the middle of the third round, and we've got a winner, get close to a decision or a decision. And both these guys, really good cardios, and I think they're both very skilled, but I don't think they're going to be able – I think they're both going to be fighting at distance here. And I think this is a fight that just goes on and may not live up to the billing, and it goes to a decision. So we're going to go with bet a little, win a whole lot on Brian Battle, Nurtsington, Ruzibev to go over 2.5 rounds plus 115. I think it's the best way to tackle a fight that a lot of people were thinking we might have a knockout or submission either way.
Yeah, I think it's the first time you've had a total on a UFC pick here on Locked On Bets. I mean, you're watching these fights and you're looking for an over, or at least go over rounds. You're kind of like, keep going, as opposed to like getting points in a game, in like a football game or a basketball game. You're kind of like, just don't end it. So yeah.
You know what it is? It's like it's like a total in the NFL. You're looking at the clock all the time. So when you have the under, you want the clock to keep rolling. You're like, oh, he didn't get out of bounds. Keep rolling the clock. Things like that. You're even checking after a timeout to see if the clock was the same as before they went to a timeout or went to a commercial. So it's tough. You gotta, it's painful sometimes, to go through it. But it's a different approach, and we've been very successful going with the overs and unders on rounds. Will they go the distance and not go the distance? Different approach, but you got to have it in your arsenal if you want to be successful in betting the UFC.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Chicago coming up on Saturday with UFC 319. We will talk NFL coming up, the Denver Broncos, and what they can do this year in the AFC. That's straight ahead. You're listening to Locked On Bets. We continue here, Locked On Bets on this Wednesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports, and we shift our attention now to the NFL and Sean Payton. We saw he won a Super Bowl in New Orleans, went to TV for a bit, and then came back to try to save the Denver Broncos franchise, trying to turn them around and get them competing with the Chiefs atop the AFC West. So it's time now for the lock of the day.
Open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
So interesting to think, Lee, how last year started with the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix was the quarterback, and there were questions on, they drafted Bo Nix, that is this going to be the franchise guy? And at the end of the day, the end of the season, they made the playoffs. They end up losing to Buffalo, but they still ended up getting in, and a lot of people are very high on them. So what are your thoughts going into this season with the Broncos?
So I don't know if they're as good as Buffalo, Baltimore, and Kansas City, but I will say this. I think they've closed the gap. I love Sean Payton. In fact, he could have been a Dolphin. Stephen Ross tried to interview him when he was under contract, and also having a ill-fated meeting with Tom Brady cost the Dolphins, how about this, a first and a third round pick. So Denver's very lucky. I think he's one of the top coaches and top offensive minds in the game. And he identified Bo Nix from the start. He thought he was their guy. He was really happy that he ended up getting Bo Nix. And what a great pairing they are together. They understand each other well. Bo Nix, in that system is perfect. They had some things that they needed to fix and upgrade to get to the next level. They needed a tight end. What did they do? They added Evan Ingram. Think they're going to be better there. Their running game wasn't great. They got R.J. Harvey in the draft and J.K. Dobbins from their rival L.A. Chargers in free agency. I think that they're going to be better there. Their defense was, decimated with injuries during the year. Look at almost every major statistical category. They're top 10, top 5 in almost everything. And I just love both of their linebackers. You want to watch guys go side to side, hit, tackle, and also rush the passer and get sacks. Watch Alex Singleton and Nick Bonetto. Both these two guys are so good. And then they've got a great secondary. Patrick Surtain, was at Alabama. I think it's his third or fourth year now. He's one of the top 3-4 cornerbacks. Brandon Jones, who was a Dolphin and let go allowed to hit free agency, has done really well as their free safety. So this is a team that has very few weaknesses. Like I said, the coaching staff is good. Special teams are also very good. And then look at the rest of the division. I think Kansas City is down a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit, just enough to where, Denver could win another game or more than last year. I think the Chargers were looking good, and then they lost their star offensive lineman Slater to a knee injury for the year. And I think the Raiders are marginally better. Maybe Geno Smith is a little bit better than the quarterbacks they've had. And also their running game should be a little bit better. They have a new coach. They should be better there. But are they going to win 8-9 games? I don't see it. So I think Denver, with that home field advantage, over 9.5 wins, we're going to go with a level 2 lock.
Where do you rank Bo Nix among the quarterbacks in that division?
I think he might be the second best quarterback.
You put him ahead of Herbert.
Yeah. Herbert has great physical tools, but he just hasn't done it, especially in the playoffs. I don't think it was Bo Nix's fault last year. They ran out of gas. They gave whatever they had to get into the playoffs. And you know what? You got to pay your dues. And they paid their dues. Buffalo gave it to them. And that's to be, understood. But I think that they're going to learn from it. And as a team, I think they're growing talent-wise and confidence-wise. The key for them is just like many other teams, got to stay away from the injury bug.
You know what's so funny about Denver for so long? It feels like with John Elway, they never lost at home or rarely lost at home. And they went for a while where they had no home field. And they Peyton Manning too for years and they were winning. But it felt like they've gone a while and without a great home field advantage. So they need to bring that back when you go to Denver. It's going to be tough to win.
Yeah, you bring in a really good coach and a quarterback that's perfect for their system, and their crowd base is energized again. They're always looking for a winner. They support winners, and they show up even when they weren't good. It wasn't like they weren't selling out, but now, it's maybe back to the old Orange Crush days, and then John Elway, and then when Peyton Manning was there for a couple of years. So this is a team on the rise. 10 games, 10, 11 games, they'll get there.
And again, you're right. Who knows with the Chiefs? Not saying they're going to fall in their face, but who knows with them? If we know Mahomes is still a star, but Travis Kelce's, he's got other things going on, and it'll be interesting to see how Kansas City responds after the Super Bowl loss to
the offensive
Philadelphia.
line. I think the blueprint's there. The two Super Bowls they lost, teams rushed 4 guys, didn't have to blitz much, and when you blitz, that's when Patrick Mahomes can make you pay. That offensive line for Kansas City, not so great.
So, Lee, we have the preseason starting up again on Friday for week number 2. What's going on with Paramount Sports?
Yep, big weekend, UFC. We'll have some fights that we'll talk about on Thursday and Friday. Looking forward to that pay-per-view. Dricus du Plessis is going to take on Khamzat Chimaev, and one of the most anticipated fights for the belt, and card is absolutely stacked. So 6 selections, $50 there. You can get it on the website, ParamountSports.com. Football on Friday, second weekend of preseason. They're going to play those starters, most teams, for 2 quarters. We will have a couple games we'll discuss and give out for free the next couple days. But you want to hop on, just $1,997, and you're going to get entire season of our phone service where we won 30 to 31 years. And baseball, 10 days, $50. Selections, also player props. If you like to do player props, 10 days, $50. Everything's up and available. ParamountSports.com or call 800-400-9741.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Bets, as well as the podcast, which you can find on your favorite audio platforms. You can find us also on X, Lee at Paramount Sports, myself at Rogers Picks. We'll be back with you on Thursday for more best bets. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.